Welcome to footballgameplan.com, where football makes sense. I'm Emery Hunt, the czar of the playbook. Bring you our 2013 NFL team preview. We're taking a look at the St. Louis Rams. We're going to break down their offense, their defense, as well as their special teams to see what we can expect from the Rams this upcoming season.
At the quarterback position, I'm not going to say it's now or never for a guy like Sam Bradford. I actually like what he brings to the table, and he has gotten better each and every year. But I will say this, he does have to make better decisions with the football. Here's a guy that tends to hold the football a little bit too long, which could cause him to make bad reads and also take sacks. So he's going to have to quicken that internal clock. Now they've added a lot of weapons with the offense having the potential to be one of the more explosive in the league. So it's time for him to take that next step. But I still believe he is the Rams QB of the future. Gone is longtime Ram Steven Jackson out of the backfield, so it's going to depend on two younger guys. You look at Darrell Richardson, who has the explosiveness, showed good acceleration last year, and I think he's going to be the front runner for the starting job. But they also drafted Zach Stacy out of Vanderbilt, who I like a lot. This is a guy that has that Alfred Morris-like ability, a guy that's not flashy but it's dependable, and that's something that you want running the football. But I think both guys can do a great job this season, not only complementing one another, but also complementing the passing game. These guys can also catch the football out of the backfield, so they're versatile. They're going to be a tandem. I think they're going to do fine. And Isaiah P still has to prove his worth on this roster, but he's another option that could log some minutes as well. So it won't be one guy this year for the Rams unless one guy just clearly stands out. It's going to be a tandem. It's going to be a combination of three, but all three, in my opinion, can get the job done. Chris Givens had a fine year last year as a rookie for the St. Louis Rams. Here's a guy that caught 42 passes for almost 700 yards at a whopping 16.6 yards a catch. When the Rams needed a big play last season, they looked his way. He should improve in year two. And they're also hoping to get better production from Brian Quick, whom they drafted last season in the second round of Appalachian State, a guy that I think has Marcus Colston-like ability. Now, it's up to him to seize the opportunity and lock down one of these starting spots and show the talent that made him one of the top receiving prospects in the FCS. Austin Pettis is another option for the Rams as he has some of the best hands on the team. But in the draft, the Rams made it a priority to get better and more explosive on the perimeter. That's why they targeted Tavon Austin and Stedman Bailey, two teammates from West Virginia. Now, Austin will be utilized the same way he was utilized at West Virginia, as a receiver, as a runner, and as a returner. And Bailey was a huge steal in my opinion. He's a player that could compete with Quick at the split, Givens at the flanker position, or play in the slot. Either way, he'll definitely contribute a lot year one. At the tight end position, the Rams bring over Jared Cook from the Tennessee Titans, and he's another threat in the passing game. He wanted to be more of a receiving option. He's going to get that opportunity with the Rams. They're going to team him up with tight end H-back Lance Kendricks, who also shows the athleticism and the versatility to be flexed out as a wide receiver. So in 2013, the Rams will create many different matchup problems with personnel groupings in an attempt to be much more of an explosive passing attack. The offensive line is where the Rams wanted to do a better job of protecting Sam Bradford. They signed Jake Long in free agency, and he'll do a solid job at the left tackle spot. Long may not have had the best 2012 season, but I trust the Rams did their homework and he'll get back to playing like the four-time Pro Bowler we saw early in his career. Now that'll move Roger Saffold to the right side, where he'll do a fine job as well, giving the Rams two solid bookends. Versatile backups Joe Barksdale and Chris Williams could provide solid depth on the edges, as well as play some guard in the pinch. The interior could be a slight question mark with two players returning from injury, starting guard Harvey Dahl, who's a solid player, and 10-year vet Scott Wells, who's the starting center. Wells is a good player, but he's constantly nicked up, which is why I believe the Rams drafted another steal this year in Barrett Jones. Jones is not only one of the best linemen in the country, but one of the more versatile linemen in all of college football, having played all five positions on that offensive front. At the other guard spot, Rokavius Watkins looks to get the starter. He's a mammoth of a lineman. He does a great job in the running game. He'll compete with Shelley Smith, who saw significant time last season, and the Rams took the necessary steps to improve. You just have to take that wait-and-see approach to see if it all will work out for them in their favor. The Rams played some good ball on the defensive line last season. Their DM play was what led the way. They were first in the league in sacks with 52, and defensive end Chris Long and Robert Quinn combined for 22 of those sacks. And the light finally came on for Quinn, who's looking to post back-to-back double-digit sack seasons for the first time in his career. And William Hayes also contributed with 7 sacks, giving him a very good rotation on that defensive line. On the inside, last year's first-round pick Michael Brockers got better as the year progressed and had a pretty solid year overall as a rookie and looks to be a breakout candidate in 2013. Kendall Langford lines up alongside of him, 6'6", 295-pound, 6-year vet, played consistently all year long as a very solid penetrator on the interior. Now, while they're thin in numbers, there's pretty good depth behind these guys with Jamel Cujo and Matthew Conrath. Both guys did a pretty good job last year when they saw time. Now, this is a pretty good defensive front for St. Louis that has room to get better this year with the progress of Brockers. I'm a big fan of the Rams linebackers, starting with James Laurinaitis, who's always going over 100 tackles, and last year was no different, had over 130 tackles, and this is a guy that does a great job in coverage as well. And when you look at the weak side backer, you're looking at Jolon Dunbar, who finally got his chance to start after being a solid backup for the New Orleans Saints. He filled up the stat sheet last year with over 4.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 2 interceptions, and over 100 tackles. This year, they're going to probably move him to the strong side because they're going to make way for rookie first-round pick Alec Ogletree out of Georgia. He was a former safety, moved to the linebacker position at Georgia, and here's a player that has the speed, has the athleticism to chase plays down from the backside, but also could be a valuable asset in coverage, giving them versatility in their nickel defense. And the Rams have some speedy guys that provide depth behind all of their frontline starters. On the outside, you have guys like Sammy Brown, who played last season, Jabbar Williams on the inside, and 2 undrafted rookie free agents I want you to keep an eye on, and Phillip Stewart out of Houston and Ray Armstrong. So I think the Rams are fine at the linebacking position. Now they've added the athleticism and the versatility. It's going to make them that much more dangerous moving forward. In the secondary, you're looking at a fearless group of competitors. Last year's second-round pick Janoris Jenkins led the team in interceptions as a rookie with 4. He showed the Rams that taking that gamble in the second round was well worth the risk. Cortland Finnegan is entering his 8th season as a pro, and last year, his feisty, in-your-face style yielded 3 interceptions, a forced fumble, and he also got in the end zone on a pick 6. And versatile second-year player Tremaine Johnson is a guy that can also play safety. He picked off 2 passes as a rookie, so there's talent on the edges. And he also added to that in the draft by taking the underrated Brandon McGee out of Miami. Saw him down at the East-West Shrine game, and he was one of the standout players. At the safety spot is where they wanted to upgrade. In the 3rd round, the Rams selected TJ McDonald out of USC, and McDonald earlier in his collegiate career showed great center field skills, but in the latter part he showed more of the ability to play inside of the box. Now either way, free safety or strong safety, I think he'll do fine. Darian Stewart will get the nod opposite of McDonald, and he's proven capable of the job, but still has to fight off Matt Daniels, who made the squad last season as an undrafted rookie free agent. Now the talent is here for the Rams. Depth, in my opinion, is a huge concern. Big fan of the special teams unit for the Rams as well. When you look at Greg Zuerlein, this guy has quite possibly the strongest leg in football in any league. Last year went 7 out of 13 from 50+ and was on a streak during one point in the season where he didn't miss. Punter Johnny Hecker did a solid job last season, averaging almost 40 yards a punt. And when you look at the return game, there's a lot of options here for the Rams. Austin Pettis can return punts, but quite honestly, this will be Tavon Austin's job. This is what he was brought in to do, add explosiveness not only on offense, but also in the return game. Now let's take a look at what the Rams have on this roster. Number 1, very good defensive play by the Rams. They're very well coached, which leads me to my number 2 point. Excellent coaching staff, top to bottom, both offensively and defensively. And 3rd, they have an underrated skill position talent. I think right now the Rams are just as explosive as any team in the division. Now what they lack, they don't have depth in the secondary. We talked about that earlier, particularly the safety position. They don't have a dependable offensive line as of yet. That's still a wait and see. And the passing game is also wait and see. They don't have that consistency right now to be effective. Reason for optimism for the Rams: number 1, this was a very good football team last year on defense. 2, they went undefeated in the NFC West. Now you add offensive weapons around Sam Bradford, there's a lot of reason to be optimistic if you're a Rams fan. The cause for concern for the Rams would be if the new pieces up front don't gel early and the passing game still struggles out of the gate. This is a very tough division and they can't afford a slow start. The road to the Super Bowl for the Rams goes as follows. Number 1, the passing game gains the consistency and it adds balance to the offense. That can go a long way in this team being that much more dangerous in 2013. 2, ties into number one, actually. The offensive line gelling early, that's a big key. And third, continue to own the division. Remember, they didn't lose a game to anybody in that division last year. They tied the 49ers, so this is a very good football team that can compete with the division's best. I have the Rams finishing fourth in the NFC West, vastly improved over last year and what may be a division where a 9-7 record will have you in fourth place. So I think the Rams will be improved over last season. The question is, how much will they improve? I still have some slight questions about the offensive line. I have to take that wait and see approach right now for the Rams, which is why I'm placing them fourth in the division. And I also want to give a huge shout out to Ram Fan Forums for always showing football game plan support.